Blade Runner is a science fiction film released in 1982, directed by Ridley Scott. The movie stars Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, and Sean Young. The film takes place in the dystopian 2019 Los Angeles, California. Harrison Ford's Deckard is a former Blade Runner who tracks down and eliminates/retires humanoid replicants. Deckard is brought back into action to track down 4 replicants who were on Earth illegally. Some of the pros of this movie that come to mind is that the city of Los Angeles feels like its own character. Long, drawn-out shots of the city make you feel immersed and a part of the atmosphere. Not to mention the set design and extras that are on screen are incredibly well thought out and really add to the immersion. Secondly, you can really tell how this film inspired other science fiction media such as Ghost in the Shell and Cyberpunk. Some of the cons that come to mind with this movie would be that the romance between Deckard and Rachel doesn't really hold up, feels very rushed. Towards the middle of the movie, the romance kind of just happens between Deckard and Rachel, and by the end of the movie, I don't really buy it. Secondly, the action scenes and amount of action in the movie is a little bit lackluster. Some of the scenes do seem kind of dated. I get that this movie is going for almost a slow-burning noir kind of film, but a little more well thought out action scenes within the movie would have gone a long way. And no, that doesn't mean more flips and one-liners, although one-liners and action scenes from back in the day seem to go hand in hand. A couple facts about the movie is that the movie actually has 7 different cuts or versions of it, with the latest being in 2007, titled Blade Runner: The Final Cut. Secondly, the movie had a budget of around $30 million and grossed around $41.8 million. I think that the cultural impact to domestic box office of the film is certainly skewed in one direction, where the impact is vastly outweighing how much the movie grossed. So regardless of how much money the movie made, it certainly made up for it in cultural impact. All in all, Blade Runner is a film where I feel like it takes you a couple times to rewatch it to fully appreciate it, where a lot of the appeal to this movie is going to be the cyberpunk aesthetic that it carries, being one of the first movies to bring in cyberpunk aesthetic into the mass media. It's going to be obviously one of the most culturally significant films of our time. I think that the impact alone of this film really will carry its weight throughout the decades. Action aside, romance aside, this movie will probably still stand the test of time just on cultural impact alone. All in all, I give this movie a 8.8 out of 10.